to Cricket for Americans. Nick here.
Gabe, the Night Watchman.
Oh, the Gabe. Not the Gabe. Gabe, the Night Watchman, is here. And we are talking about the World Cup thus far. All right?
Right.
We're talking about now that we've gotten our feet wet in the World Cup pool, now that we've seen some matches, now that we've had some serious heartbreak, for crying out loud, we are ready to talk about what we've seen so far, what we've noticed so far. I want to talk about the schedule really bad, some other things that kind of just, piqued our interest. But thank you so much for tuning in today. If this is your first time, please consider subscribing after you listen to a couple of American knuckleheads talk about what they think they know about cricket. And if it's not your first time, it is your first time, go ahead and hit that like button. We really appreciate it. And, let us know also, after we're done talking here, let us know what you want us to talk about next as far as the World Cup is concerned.
Right.
All right. Now, we had two matches today, okay? And I'm going to let Gabe take the floor in just a second. Just a second. We had two matches today, but before that, we did not get a chance to do our 3 wickets on Sunday for India, Pakistan because we had no time to get together. I had church all day. You had work at night. It wasn't because I was ducking out because I didn't want to talk about. I love talking about when my teams tick me off. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. In that match, I saw one team that was cooking at all cylinders, that was ready to play, that was in top form. And I saw another team called India, right? That was not, for crying out loud. And I'm an Indian fan, but I'm a fan of all cricket. I am not an Indian fan that hates a Pakistan team or dislikes them or anything like that. I actually highly respect their team because they got some serious players. And talking about the way that beatdown happened, Shami got some hate, right? From the media, from the fans or whatever. I got serious respect for Mohammad Rizwan because he stuck his neck out and he said, hey, these people are human too. Shami's an animal. And let's calm down with the hate. I thought that was awesome, right? It's not about anything else. It's about cricket. It's about players. It's about I got your back, my friend. And so in that match, Pakistan was a better bowling side. They were the better batting side by far. Right. India couldn't do anything on either side, and that's why they got smacked around. And Pakistan showed the world, like, hey, you should be looking at us as the favorites right now. Right. I don't have much more to say about that match. Pakistan was a better team. They showed it in every single form imaginable. And India was like, they were fighting. I'm not going to say they gave up. They were fighting, but it was like they were fighting for breath the entire time, right?
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think that a lot of people, including Harsha Bogli, had mentioned that Pakistan was actually his dark horse. And when we'll get to my West Indies in a minute, right? But a lot of people were talking about Pakistan being a dark horse because of how good their bowling unit was. And again,
I hear a lot of people when I mention Pakistan as my top 4. Oh, you're crazy! They're garbage. They're choke artists.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe I just heard you because you kept saying it, and of course Harsha Bogli on Quick Buzz. But with that being said, right? It's they had a great bowling unit, and anybody that had has good bowlers on these pitches, on these grounds in the UAE are going to be successful. Afghanistan, another case of that. You know what I'm saying? You see guys with some great bowling attacks, right? What's crazy to me is, right, I was looking at Kohli's response, and this was probably the first time. I mean, I like Virat Kohli, okay? Don't get me wrong, but it's the first time that I'm like, okay, dude. Like I felt like it was like not just raw and honest, but it was like, I don't know if you've seen his interview, but they asked him about, the bad form of Rohit Sharma. And
that was hilarious.
And he's like,
consider dropping Rohit Sharma?
The look on his face was like, drop Rohit Sharma? It was like,
next.
Like, you know what I mean? And like, he handled that like our athletes would. Like, almost in, like, you just sound stupid right now what you just said. Really? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, we're not talking about dropping a Lindell Simmons, who should have been dropped, by the way, letting down the West Indies again. And we'll talk about that performance in a little bit. But this is wrong with Sharma, man. And I'm like, I thought that was so funny, but I like the way Kohli stood up for him. And you know what? Like, games happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, calm down, people. Games happen.
Absolutely.
And at some point, the streak was going to end. You know what I mean? You listen, the Yankees had beat the Red Sox forever, and it had never happened that a team had come back from 3 down in the playoffs in a 7-game series where you only need to win 4. It happened, okay? That's sports. It happens. So, congratulations, Pakistan. Also, congratulations to the rest of the teams that won. And we're going to jump into that right now. I think one of the biggest things I've noticed is how many people were wrong, Nick, including myself. Okay, you talked about it. You're like, man, I the defending champs, West Indies, but honestly, you went with a pick not because it was like your heart. It's just like you kind of said, well, I don't know which one of these other teams, including India and Pakistan, has.
They're supposed to be a really good squad, right?
Right, and the only person, to his credit, that also doubted him, other than you, and I'm talking about my West Indies, was Harsha Bhogle, who came in and said, honestly, I remember what he said, oh, I like Pakistan, I like India, I like England. And I'm like, England? Really? With people down? Shows what I know. They're like, yeah, we got more guys. We got some Mills. We got other places. Yep. England's are still a really good white ball cricket team. They're top 3, all right? He's like, I'm worried about the West Indies. Their bats are old. They all do the same thing. You don't really have guys that can bat an entire game. They don't really rotate the strike. Wow. And with their pitching, and go back and watch that from a couple weeks ago, guys. He puts it in a set, and I was like, oh man, because I go by what this guy says. He's a great analyst, and he's objective. One of the few. He's objective. So a lot of people that were toting my West Indies, including me, were wrong. But I'm a fool. Like, what do I know? I'm talking about other experts that were toting the West Indies, and they were all wrong. And I'm like, wow.
And I ended up picking them to win the entire thing too, because I just figured that was the smartest thing on paper. I didn't see I didn't see Team India winning the whole thing because I've seen this before in the past. If they do, 2 thumbs up. I thought West Indies was the next best bet, the safest bet. Man, they're down 0-2, brother. It's not only do they have to run the table going for the next 3 matches, but they need a whole lot of help right now.
Bro, it's hello, darkness, my old friend. It's over. It's over, West Indies fans. And you know what really upsets me about this, Nick? They need to go in there and blow this thing up. If there's any pride whatsoever, they need to not just blow up the team, they need to blow up the selection committee, they need to blow up the management, because once again, they're so stubborn. Don't even bother bringing in a Chris Gayle if you're not going to bring him in at 2. We had this conversation. If he's just there to be a token mascot, then leave him off the roster. Give it to somebody else that can help contribute. Give it to a Jason Holder. But once again, and Renil to her point said it, and much love Renil, I've never seen Chris Gayle bat or be successful outside of the number 2 spot. Like, that's where he's at. You know who they put in there? Lendell Simmons. What has he done? Nothing. He destroyed the West Indies today, bro. He was out there playing tests. The strike rate was like at 60. He's the single reason why the West Indies lost. And that's not on him, because he shouldn't have been in there. They should have dropped him. Why even? And then they bring in like the universe boss at like 5 or 6. At that point, this game is gone. You guys wasted it all. It's stupid. And they need to fire the coach, fire the selection committee, get rid of everyone. Get rid of everyone. You should be embarrassed. A dumb American like me who has only been watching cricket for 2 years, it's like, yo, if the universe boss isn't in that 2 day, he shouldn't be in. Bottom line is the guy needs way too much time to get started, and Lendell Simmons and him cannot be in the same side at the same time. They picked Lendell Simmons over the universe boss. How'd that work out? 2 games in a row, this guy has failed. All right, 2 games in a row. And today, he not only failed, Nick, he destroyed the team. Look how many balls he ate. He ate like
35 balls.
35 balls.
16 runs.
The guy basically ate 6 overs himself. Seriously? Who made that decision?
The happiest guy in the room right now is KL Raul.
Go. You know what?
Tell me about my strike rate. Tell me about my strike rate. 46? 35 balls. When I saw that, I was like, it's got to be a typo. There's no way. He got 4 more runs than Chris Gayle, and he saw 23 more balls, for crying out loud.
Bro, whoever made that decision is bad at their job. They're bad at life, and they need to just jump. Go. They better just quit themselves. All right, just quit. Hand in your resignation. Embarrassing. I'm already on the West Indies, so I'm already talk about it. It's not the players, Nick. It's the politics that's running me. That's ruining this team. They've got to have so many people from each island, and they got to be, equally represented. You put the best guys on the field. You put the best guys on the field, and you're playing to lose, and you're done. You're done. If anybody thinks they're winning, I'm answering phone calls, cousin. I'm taking bets on that all day long. There's no way they're winning the championship. You've seen their net run rate? They're done. They're done. They're cooked food. Destroy the whole thing, all right? With that being said, all right, they put up 150 runs, all right? The run scoring has started to come up. A whole bunch of teams have been putting up runs, all right? So it comes back to the bowling not being able to do the job. And again, could you imagine if Lendell Simmons doesn't waste that? They put up $170, maybe $180. You know what I'm saying? But they all play the same. Even after Lendell Simmons fell today, Nick, and that was Harsha Bosley's point, you've got literally a team of chameleons because it was everybody coming in. Boom, boom, boom. Giving up their wicket, trying to hit big shots. They lost 3 wickets back to back to back. All right? Delicioso. The guys were just giving up their wickets, and you cannot have a team full of guys that all try to do the same thing, especially when what they try to do is hit the long ball. It just can't happen, Nick. So that's bad on the way they put this team together was terrible. They put in Hayden Walsh Jr., who I was calling for, as a spinner. And, dude, he didn't get blown up. You know what I'm saying? He went and did his job. Jose was there, too. I still don't understand what Roston Chase did. After his performance in the CPL, he must have done something we don't know about. I think he might have gone out with one of the selectors committee's wives or something, or I don't know what it is. He forgot somebody's Christmas card or something, because somebody's angry at Roston Chase because the guy can't get on. But Lendell Simmons apparently is the god of cricket that we didn't know. He's right up there with MS Dhoni and unmovable forces because he's the most important guy on this team.
Let me say this, and I appreciate your passion, right? But there's always two sides of it. South Africa, they're coming into this. They lost a close one. They needed about 20 runs or so in the Australia match. They lost that match. So they're coming to backs against the wall. They're still playing a West Indies team that's the defending champs that me and you both chose to win the entire thing. So they were able to come in. They were able to handle business. Their bowlers were really able to not only keep the economy low-ish, right? They got 73 in the halfway point, the 10th over, but low-ish. But they were able to get some big wickets. Like you said, 3 in a row. Got the run out there mixed in between. They were able to get things done when they needed to. And, there's a lot of names, whether it's low economy rate, like a Norkia, he got himself 1 wicket, or whether it's like a Pretorius at the end, he got himself 3 wickets and 2 overs. And you're going to say, oh, it's garbage time. I don't think so, because you got to save every run when you're chasing. Maharaj got 2 wickets. Economy rate is 6. And then their batsmen. I mean, they only need – it's so tough when you're on the other side of it, when the opposition is chasing, and they only need 4 batsmen for crying out. And Bavuma, the captain, who I made as a captain of my fantasy squad, he only got 2, right? But you got 39 from Hendricks. You got 43 from Vanderdusen, and you got 51 from Markram. And that last partnership, Markram, fantastic partnership. I watched the chase at the very end of it, and I listened to the commentators. They put on a beautiful chase. There was a nice big 6 off Russell, the second to last ball, and that was all she wrote. But South Africa showed up. And I want to mention that because it's a team I have not given too much love. I'm giving them their rightfully due love. And it has nothing to do with the Sup comment earlier on. What's up, Sup? But they showed up today. And, you've got these groups, these Super 12. And this is going to bring me to my next point right here. Congratulations, South Africa. My next point is the Super 12. We'll get to Pakistan, New Zealand later on. Super 12. This is my question for you, Gabe. Is it really a Super 12?
Bro, I tell you what, it's so weird.
Because I don't think it is.
I'm telling you right now, this is where not being exposed to other nations and other cricketing teams kind of hurts us. But realistically, we don't have that kind of time. And between just regular cricket, IPL, we both work. You got the church duties. I got the NBA. We can only get so much in. But some of these teams, bro, I had no idea. I had only seen Pakistan a few times. I knew they had a lot of good bowling. I didn't know they were as good as they were. I really didn't. I had to watch South Africa. I knew they were good. Of course, they had some people out that weren't there. But as I'm watching this, well, it's like the Final Four, right? NCAA Final Four. You can fill out your bracket no matter what way you fill it out, but at the end, it's probably going to be, the usual suspects, okay? Right. And it looks like it's going to be the usual suspects. It honestly is. Case in point, right? How good was Scotland looking right? Scotland went undefeated in the qualifiers. They beat Bangladesh. Scotland was everyone's darling, and Scotland got smacked, cousin. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, once you get up here with the big boys, it's a different story. You could tell the Oman. I'm sorry. Somebody was like, why you keep attacking Oman, Gabe? It's a joke. I don't even know who they were. I'm sorry. That's my Americanism coming out. I didn't know there was a nation in Oman. Okay, I still couldn't point it out for you in a map. All right, most people that aren't from there probably couldn't. Let's just be real, okay? And I'm just like, these guys that had, it's great that they qualified to get there, Nick. But you can tell that when a Scotland steps in against a big boy, or Oman steps in against a big boy, whether it be the Afghanistans of the world, the Pakistans of the world, the Indians of the world, the New Zealands of the world, it's like not even a competition. You know what I'm saying, dude? So I agree with you. I'm saying, like, we're not going to see, I don't see any of the guys that made it through become dark horses. I don't think Scotland has a chance. Like I said, my West Indies are already done. Already donezo, cousin. I mean, it's Afghanistan destroyed Scotland. They put them in the same situation as my West Indies. They scored
that net run rate.
Runs. Your net run rate's done, cousin. Done. It's over. Goodbye. So it's gonna be, in my opinion, the top four. And to be honest with you, Nick, seeing what I saw from New Zealand today, I don't know if it's Pakistan is that good, or maybe, and I know their bowling is really good, but I don't even think New Zealand may be there. It's the toss-up for me between New Zealand now and South Africa, who gets through into that final four, brother. But it's the strongest teams right now, if I'm being 100, is England and Pakistan. That's my opinion, which I hate the fact.
It's not a Super 12 at all, in my opinion. And, you know, Sri Lanka could sneak up in there. Afghanistan could sneak up in there as the four best. You could have India and New Zealand outside looking in. Now, I know we're overreacting a little bit because there's one match for India and New Zealand, but I completely agree. That match today with Pakistan and New Zealand. Pakistan's played India and New Zealand. Are there any two better, more promising teams that were supposed to be in that group? No. Pakistan took them both out and survived with a net run rate of plus 0.7.
Right.
So, and it wasn't even close for both matches. It was a closer match, the New Zealand match. But let me give this to you. And Alshon said it best on his stream. He said they got Kane Williamson out with a run out. They weren't going to get him out bowling, in his opinion.
Right.
Pakistan has got the fielding with the run out. Obviously the bowling, and they got an amazing opening partnership. And that's not a knock on Pakistan, but has that always been like the crutch?
Yeah,
right?
Hasn't
that we always heard about the fielding? And they got Captain Kane on a run out. Right. Pakistan, and why? Because pressure, baby. Pressure makes you do things you probably wouldn't. Kane Williamson, who's the most calm guy in the entire world, got out on a run out, for crying out loud. You got to be kidding me. You had Conway going nuts. You had Guptill bye before as you get settled. The bowling, Harris Roth got 4 wickets. Pakistan has not just Shaheen, right? They have a balanced bowling attack, and they're going to build pressure. And it goes back to the bowling better, batting better. Let me tell you this. Cricket is built around bowling. And I know you don't agree with this, but I'm going to tell you why it is. Even T20.
Wow. You stealing my line? Oh.
Listen. No. It's built around bowling. Why? Because my man can bust out your bowler in the first 5 balls. 6 after 6 after 6 after 6 after 6. You don't want that economy rate, but then your guy bowls me out. And now he's done. He's done. When you bowl and give 5 6s, guess what? He's still got more rocks he gets to throw. Right. When I'm done as a batsman, I'm done. That's it. And I may be the best chance on my team. And your bowler has 3 more overs to try to get other guys. Like you say, Delicioso. Who else can I eat up? Right? That's where it's more built for the bowling. Doesn't matter how good your batters are doing on the first 5 balls, the first 10 balls. We saw Pont in some kind of form until he wasn't. Right? And I believe they baited him into that. Right? They knew Pont was going to go for it. And so my point is, it's not a Super 12, in my opinion. Scott, like you said, bye. Thanks for joining us. My ancestors, once again, I mushed you, right? West Indies, hope and a prayer. They're good enough, hope and a prayer. Bangladesh, the jury's still out, right? South Africa, they fought back today. Australia, I don't trust too much, right? And you said no about South Africa. They lose Quinton de Kock for the entire tournament. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So, and Namibia, no one really gives them too much of a chance. But it's not a Super 12 right now. It's Pakistan, and then England, and then everybody else. It's unbelievable. And am I giving up on India? No, I'm not giving up on India. I'm not. But even they, with losing that one match and that horrible net run rate, they have a huge hill to climb. So it's unbelievable how it's shaping up early on. Yes, we're overreacting. Gabe, this is the next thing I want to get to because I think this is really, really important. What is going on with the schedule? And let me start this off real quick. The schedule makes no sense. It's not that hard. Now, maybe there were certain players that couldn't get to the quarantine bubble and they had to change some things last minute. I don't know what. Pakistan's going to play their third match on Friday. India doesn't play their second match, nor New Zealand, until Sunday. Oh, that's interesting. Namibia has not played a single match. Pakistan's played 2. South Africa's played 2, for crying out loud. And West Indies have played 2. Namibia will play tomorrow. Bangladesh has to play 2 matches like in 3 or 4 days, for crying out loud. Other teams get to wait. But when you wait, like a Namibia or an India or New Zealand, then you get bunched up at the end. I don't understand this schedule whatsoever. And I'm not going to blame the schedule for a team not making the Final Four knockout stage or making the knockout stage.
Right.
But when you have some diehard fans, which most people are in the T20 World Cup, you know it's going to come up. Like, we can't get this schedule together. So, Gabe, what do you think is going on with this weird, unfair schedule?
Candidly, money.
Yeah.
Money. All right, let's just be real. Okay, we saw the difference in the streams when it was England versus West Indies and Pakistan versus India, right? Almost broke the internet, right? A Hot Star had like 700 million people. So the schedulers, and they do the same thing here in the NFL, and they've scheduled the games for when you could get the most views. If you give it to them during the weekends, funny thing, right? India's only playing on the weekends because, people are off of work. You're going to be able to get them to see. If you put them in the middle of the week, you can't. That's bottom line. When can we maximize the views? You're going to see India, England, the bigger boys play prime time when you can get the most bang for your buck as far as views are concerned. And usually that's the weekends because people normally are off the next day and they can go to the games. You'll get more people watching them. And it's always, here they do it in the NFL. You see it all the time. We got what's called the flex, guys, the flex game. So a channel has a right to flex out of a game. So if they've got a game, let's say it's a primetime game, a Sunday night game or a Monday night game, and that team happens to be terrible or out of it, they just flex it out. No. We're going to trade this game for that game. And it's all about TV ratings, brother. That's what it's all about, in my opinion.
That's a great opinion because I think you're right because look at the big matches we've had so far. Pakistan, New Zealand, 2 at the top, right? Pakistan, India, like you said, West Indies, England, West Indies, South Africa.
Right.
The bigger name teams have almost already played each other in the first several days, and we got a few more big matchups coming up. India, New Zealand on Sunday.
Right.
It's like they want to get all the viewers hooked, and they think they're going to stick around. That's really interesting. That's an interesting point because some of these matchups, India would have played Pakistan, New Zealand. All they got left is Afghanistan, Namibia, and Scotland. Nothing against those teams, but do we really think it's going to be a big draw for those? No. Same thing with Pakistan. They'll only have those same teams as well going in. England will only have, Australia, that'd be a big draw, right? I don't know when that's scheduled. That'll be a big draw.
That's
Australia, West Indies will be a big draw.
That's this Saturday. I think that's what.
There you go. It's all top heavy.
Yep.
Wow, that's a great point.
England versus Australia is this Saturday is the one you're going to be streaming. Nick, and I'm going to tell you right now, India, their biggest game is against Afghanistan because Afghanistan, if they beat them head up, then they have a chance to get through because you only get 2 through. So India has to beat down Afghanistan. Does anybody think India's going to lose to Namibia? Stop. Mambia, stop. Or Scotland, stop. Okay.
But you know what's got to happen now? Sorry to interrupt you. What's got to happen since they're behind the 8 ball with net run rate? And you got Afghanistan with 6.5. And you got Pakistan with 0.7. Yeah. What they got to do is they got to win the toss. They got to bat first. And they just got to go banana. Mumbai style, right? In that last match, they got to go runs, balls deep. And then they got to hope to bowl out the opposition to have a chance to get that tiebreaker with net run rate and win every single match.
Well, wait a minute, because I was doing trust me, I was doing the crunches. And if West Indies had won today, they would have had an opportunity to get in. But now that they lost, they're done. Okay. I don't think South Africa is getting in either, and I'm gonna tell you why. Neither is Australia, guys. Look at somebody's got to make it from that group, so maybe Australia. Australia struggled. I know, right? Australia struggled with South Africa. Only won by 2 balls. Australia still got to beat a pissed off West Indies team. Where, let's be real, if they put in Lendl Simmons, dude, I think there'll be riots. There'll be riots in the streets because everybody lost their minds today. Like, why is he back in it? What is going on? So they still got to get through that. They got through the juggernaut of this bracket, which is England, of course. But their schedule going forward is not the easiest. India got 2 juggernauts out of the way already, right? What I should say, Pakistan, which is a big juggernaut. Now they got Afghanistan. Afghanistan still has to play Pakistan, and that's going to be a huge match, okay? And depending what happens there, run rate's going to come in. It's going to be so interesting.
I'm pretty sure that's on Friday. Another big match on Friday.
Weekends, brother. Come on, they want that viewership. I will say though, Nick, if I'm going with my gut, I think in the bracket, I think England looks so good. And people are like, oh, guys, yeah, they did to what look at what happened in West Indies, all right? They put out the West Indies to shame, 55 runs. And yes, the West Indies lost today, but they didn't lose in the 10th over, okay? West Indies put up runs, and it was and that's in spite of how terrible Lendl Simmons played. All right, look at what West Indies did today. So that just tells you England winning by 6 wickets and being able to take this thing down in the 8th over, Nick, or the 9th over, excuse me, that England's legit. They're for real. And Tamil Mills is not a Jaffa Archer, but the pace is real. And between Livingstone, they just got enough, I think, to get out of that bracket. And the question is, who's going to be the next person? Maybe you're Sri Lanka, maybe in Australia, because they haven't lost at all. So if Australia wins their next one, they'll just by virtue of the points table get in there. Do I think they're the strongest? They're going to make it to the final. They could win the whole thing. No, but stranger things have happened. Your bracket, and I hate that I'm going to say this. I think, and everybody was calling, this bracket, the West Indies bracket, the bracket of death. I think the bracket of death is actually India's bracket, because holy crap, I hate admitting when Nick is right, guys. But have you seen Afghanistan's bowling, Pakistan's bowling, India? You guys understand something. India's going to come out and beat the brakes out of their next opponent, all right? Listen. Them dudes.
New Zealand, New Zealand.
Put it on the bank. You saw New Zealand today? They lost Loki Ferguson, okay? Tim Southey, I'm not impressed. Sodi,
I think Southey's out, or no, Loki Ferguson's out.
That's what I just said. Loki Ferguson. That's what I'm saying. You saw what happened. Loki Ferguson, he's gone. That's a huge blow for them. Huge. You need pace here. You need pace or really good spinners. I don't think this isn't England. This isn't New Zealand where they crush everyone on those comfortable pitching, right? You're in a subcontinent pitch, brother. You're out here in Asia. They're not getting through. I guarantee you, India's going to beat the bricks off of them. So that division, oh my gosh, you're right, and I hate admitting it. That's the bracket of death. That is the bracket of death over there. Oh my gosh, it's brutal. Australia right now, after looking at these games, are like, man, we got lucky being over here with these blokes. You know what I mean? We're gonna lose to England. That's what they're thinking. We're gonna lose to England, but we could beat the West Indies. Look what happened to them. We could beat the West Indies. They might bet the universe boss at 9. You know what I'm saying? Like the way their management is, who knows what they do. So it's I'm telling you, it's going to be more interesting seeing who gets through on yours, because I think honestly our bracket's already settled, man.
I don't know if it's already settled. I love it though. So much more cricket still to watch. Can't wait to watch it. Yes, we're overreacting, but this is how we're feeling right now in the moment. Let us know how you're feeling right now in the moment. Let us know what you think, what's going to happen. What are they going to be the final 4 teams now? Because I may change my final 4 at this point. I'm not ready to give up complete hope, except for the West Indies. Sorry. But we'll have to see what happens. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for checking out and listening to what we have to say. Please share your opinions. And until next time.
That's 6 runs.